Thank you, Ms Miller. It is a pleasure indeed to serve under your chairmanship, and I'd like to begin by congratulating my dear friend, the Honourable Member for Henley, for securing this important debate, and forgive me if I repeat some of the points he touched upon. So, Madam Chairman, Iran is a malign and malevolent influence in the Gulf region, and more widely, and has been since the Islamic Revolution in 1979. Its actions greatly concern us in the UK as a P5+1 member, a signatory of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the Iranian nuclear deal, and we are a nation with a long history of vital strategic interests in the region. So despite recent moves by other Gulf states to promote a more peaceful neighbourhood, with Israel signing a peace deal with the UAE, for example, Iran continues to promote terrorism and instability throughout the Gulf and the wider Middle East. It is supporting the Hutu militia in the civil war in Yemen. It is supporting Hezbollah and other proxies to prolong the no war, no peace struggle against Israel. And it is undertaking attacks on shipping in the Gulf. And despite the 2015 nuclear deal, it continues to work towards developing a nuclear weapons capability. And it uses hostage diplomacy. The terrible case of Nazim Zaghari Ratcliffe is a very obvious and terrible example. Now, in all these matters, Iran has shown consistent bad faith and demonstrated its destructive and aggressive policy towards its neighbours and us in the West. Madam Chairman, just yesterday... Oh, yes, please.
Thank you, my honourable friend, for giving way. My constituent, Mr Anush Ashuri, was captured some 3 years ago while visiting his sick mother in Tehran, and since been held in prison under really brutal conditions, which has included solitary confinement and physical torture. Does my honourable friend agree that the British citizens, like Mr Ashuri, who are subject to unjust trial, are being held as hostages due to their dual nationality, and the UK government must acknowledge them as such?
Thank the honourable friend for her intervention, and I completely agree. Something must be done, and it's clearly politically motivated, and these are terrible acts which need to be sorted by HMG. Madam Chairman, now just yesterday, the UK and our French and German allies warned Iran that its plans to expand its atomic energy programme risk the collapse of the international agreement put in place in 2015, obviously the JCPoA. Last week, the Iranian Parliament voted to end UN inspections of its nuclear facilities and boost its uranium enrichment. Many lawmakers reportedly chanted death to America and death to Israel following the vote. And I'm sure the Minister in his summing up would join me in condemning these actions and deeds. Tehran is enriching uranium to a higher fissile purity than is permitted under the nuclear deal and putting it on a trajectory closer to possessing weapons-grade enriched uranium. Now, as I haven't got much time left, I'll go straight to my conclusion. Our policy towards Iran should be based on considerations of our security, our values and our vital strategic interests, and our policy should be mirroring that of the US and the Israeli, our allies, in saying that the Iranians must never be allowed to develop a nuclear weapons capability.
Steve McCabe.